What would you do if you were the boss of everything? Would you insist on longer recess? Or warm homemade chocolate chip cookies at every meal? Or a kitten or puppy for every child? Or maybe you could make all the grown-ups be kind so we'd have world peace. That would be good. It's fun to imagine being in charge. It's not so fun when another kid tries to boss you around. Hi there, I'm Dr. Eileen Kennedy Moore, also known as Dr. Friendtastic. I'm an author and clinical psychologist based in Princeton, New Jersey. Each week on the Kids Ask Dr. Friendtastic podcast, I answer a question from a kid about making and keeping friends. If you have a question you'd like me to answer, you can send it in at drfriendtastic.com/submit. That's drfriendtastic.com/submit. Here's today's question.
Hi, my name is Grace. I am 9 years old, and I have a question for you, Dr. Friendtastic. There's a girl in my group who sometimes bosses us around and says, "You're not the boss of me." Could you please help me, Dr. Friendtastic?
Hi, Grace. Thanks for sending in your question. I'm guessing that you're feeling frustrated and annoyed by this girl who sometimes bosses you around. What's interesting is that she also says to you, "You're not the boss of me." That makes it sound like you both feel bossed around. What does it mean when we say someone is being bossy? Well, it means they're telling us what to do. But it's more than that. It also means that we don't believe they have the right to tell us what to do. If, say, a parent or a teacher tells you what to do, that's not being bossy because they really are in charge. If another kid tells you what to do, that's annoying because they're not the boss of you. Given that both you and your friend feel like you're being bossed around, I think what might be happening is what I call a yes-no argument. A yes-no argument sounds like this. One person says yes, and the other person responds no. Then the first person says yes again, and the other person says no. And it goes back and forth like that. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Getting louder and louder. And it gets nowhere because neither person is listening and neither person feels heard. Usually, when kids feel bossed around by other kids, they say, "You're not the boss of me." And that leads to an unhelpful argument about who's being bossy. So, what could you do instead? Rather than trying to convince your friend that she's bossy, try being curious about why she wants whatever it is. You could say, "What do you like about that?" Or, "Why is that important to you?" Try hard to listen and understand her point of view instead of immediately saying no. You might even want to summarize what she says so she knows you've heard her. A useful formula is, "So you want to do X because Y." For example, you could say, "So you want to make that area off limits in our game of tag because it's too hard to catch someone there." Asking, listening, then summarizing what you hear is a good way to get out of a yes-no argument. Hearing her reasons might convince you to do what she wants. It might also help you come up with a compromise or a different idea that addresses her concerns but also fits with what you want. What about the flip side? What can you do so your friend doesn't think you're being bossy? When you bring up your ideas, start with the word I. I think, I like, I want. That's easier to hear than "you have to." Be sure to explain your reasons so she can understand why you want whatever you want. Most importantly, try to be flexible. That means being willing to bend by adjusting and accepting things that aren't exactly how you like them, just because you care about and want to get along with others. Being able to give out orders and have everyone do as we say is a fun fantasy. But real friendships require communication and compromise. This has been Kids Ask Dr. Friendtastic. You can learn even more about friendship through my funny and practical books for kids, Growing Friendships, a kid's guide to making and keeping friends, and Growing Feelings, a kid's guide to dealing with emotions about friends and other kids. They're available through your library or wherever you buy books.